Yep, it's running.
Okay.
So, we're in time, so we can start right now.
So, welcome. I just have to use my loud voice on the speaker, huh? Some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Mark. I'm from the American Institute of Chiropractic. And I think all of you in this room come from 3 different groups, right? Everybody's from all 3 groups, Berlin, DAGC.
Most of them are from DAGC.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for me before we get started? This is going to be a philosophy lecture. Philosophy meaning the eternal search for truth. A lot of people have been asking me the last year, why the unicorns? I had a new logo design, so I thought I'd give an explanation. Because I had a design contest, and the unicorns I laughed at, and some people said to me, well, look up what unicorn means. The unicorn represents love, purity, and the seeking of natural truth. So I thought, that's very fitting for chiropractic in its pure essence. And I like this symbolism. I had a new logo made for my office too, with a tree of life. And I think about the tree of life with chiropractic, because some years ago I started with Marco and a few others teaching them chiropractic, and I feel like the most important thing in chiropractic, which is lost in a lot of education, is ultimately patient outcome. Right? What we all should be focused on is what happens when a chiropractor works on the patient. So, goals. I wrote goals because I thought a lot about 90 minutes, what can I do with a group of people I've never met? Try to help you strengthen your foundation. Chiropractic is a philosophy, science, and art. Philosophy asks the questions. Science provides the answers, and the art is the application of chiropractic. Some of you in this room that have learned from me know that I'm very militant about teaching students that technique is not chiropractic. If you build a house, the hammer is not building the house. It's a tool that you use to build. There are over 4,000 techniques in chiropractic. Should I stop moving around?
No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, that's it.
There are over 4,000 techniques in chiropractic, and they all work. Every one of them. No one technique works on every patient. In my experience, I've been getting adjusted now for 34 years. And I've been a chiropractor now for a lot. I don't want to date myself, but he's laughing because he's getting older too, as we all are every day. The problems that I see in the chiropractic profession are not really the problems with philosophy, although this really helps to strengthen the base. A lot of people get attached to a technique, and they say, I'm a Gonstead practitioner. I'm a blah, blah, blah. Instead of, I'm a chiropractor, and I'm going to use what's best on the patient. It really makes no difference. This is probably the most important thing that I could pound into your head, is don't get attached to any technique. Technique is only the application of force. That's it. The application of force. If you think of the adjustment as 100%, the adjustment, 50% is the intention of what you intend to do. If you are focused on making the patient feel better, you are intruding on the business of your local bartender. Because the job of a bartender is to make you feel better. The job of a chiropractor is to make you function more efficiently neurologically. Chiropractic doesn't make anyone healthy. Does everybody understand that concept? Some of you are new, some of you have been doing this longer. Do any of you think an adjustment makes someone healthy? Okay, nobody, or you just don't want to to be honest. It's okay, it's part of the learning process. To change everything you do on Monday morning, you don't need to change technique. You don't need to get a new husband, a new wife, move to a new town, paint your walls. Just change your mind. The gift of being a human being is that every second you're alive, you can change your mind. Animals can only adapt to their environment. The gift of being a human being is to create the environment around you. If you're not living the life you've always dreamed of, change your mind. It's that simple. I didn't really make the goals clear, did I? Well, with philosophy, everybody's going to get something different. Some people, I may insult you. Some may grab onto it. But understand the message, not the messenger. I never lose. I never lose. I either win or I learn. Is that a philosophy for life? Is that a philosophy for practice? Does everybody understand what that means? And I can only relate things to myself, and just those of you that don't know me, it has nothing to do with ego. Ego means edging God out. I don't feel that I'm anything other than a servant. But I relate to myself because the way I teach is teaching people to become the kind of chiropractor that I'm trying to become every single day. Constant and never-ending improvement. If 100 patients come in my office and there are 99 miracles, I can't get the one out of my head. That should be the standard. Most practitioners of therapeutics would be happy with a 70-80% improvement. What I see is a loser. 20-30% of people, they're losing. So, you either win or you learn. The secret to chiropractic has nothing to do with technique. It has to do with building human relationships. There's over here what people want, and there's over here what people need. Your ability to bridge the gap of that communication will determine the success of your practice. Nothing else. Not technique, not where your office is located. If you can't get people to trust you to stick around long enough, they're never going to figure out what chiropractic is. I learned this the hard way when I started in practice. I thought I could force my motivation on other people. Turns out, nope. I tried very hard to force people to want what I want. But you know, Bill Esteb says, human beings have this curious thing of acting like human beings. People are going to make their own decisions. People are going to make their own choices. When patients come in your office, what they have in their head has nothing to do with what's in your head. They don't know what technique is. Research has shown people who are desperate and in pain will do anything, anything for 20 visits. Which means if somebody comes to you and you say, look, I'm going to cut the head off this goat and I'm going to sprinkle some blood on your forehead and all your pain's going to go away. If they trust you, they'll let you do it. Because this has to do with a human relationship in your practice. That's what you're doing. When someone comes into you, they're not looking at your I love me wall and seeing what certification or what diploma you have. They don't give a shit. They're there for themselves. They're going to laugh at your stupid jokes and nod. And as soon as they think there's nothing more you can do for them, they're out. The first lay lecture I ever gave in chiropractic, I joked about this a lot. I was talking about this earlier. In 10 minutes, almost everybody was asleep. I had nerve charts and spinal thingies. Nobody understood it but me. And I realized when I saw people's neck go back like that, nobody cares about this but me. The only people excited with a lecture like that would be you folks. Patients don't care. You think they care about the spinal pyramidal tract? No. Make my headache go away, dickhead. Nobody comes into me and says, look, I really want you to improve the neurological functioning of my brain. I'm still waiting. But people come in with whatever disease, dysfunction, or pain. No different the people that come in your offices, my office, every office. They're suffering and they want help. What they get and how that's interpreted is how you begin the human relationship. But if we go back to this 100%, because I didn't finish this, your intention needs to be bigger than the environment in which your patient feels. Because if you don't get it, they're never going to get it. You cannot bring someone beyond the level that you're at. Does everybody understand that? If you only get adjusted because you have pain, that's what your practice is going to be filled with. Does everybody understand that concept? There are different levels of practice over time, and there's no bad or wrong. It's not a black and white issue. It's a process. It's why we call it practice. We're all learning. We're all learning. We're never losing. We're learning. You either win or you learn. You're going to have people that leave your office and you go, man, I'll handle that much differently next time. That's inevitable. Still happens to me on a regular basis. That is part of the learning process. So you understand you either win or you learn. There's no failing. As soon as you develop that attitude, you are useless to your patients and you might as well be a bartender because then at least you can make people feel better.
Do you need that?
I don't think so. Can anybody not hear my voice? I don't want to give anybody a headache. I think my voice is loud enough.
Okay.
If I'm not speaking loud enough, just say something and I'll speak a little louder. And by the way, Chiropractic's birthday was the other day, and I brought all of you gifts. I loaded on Marco's computer. Does everybody know in this room who B.J. Palmer was? Does anybody not know who B.J. Palmer was? Okay. Does everybody know who B.J.'s wife was? B.J. Palmer's wife was named Mabel Palmer. Far smarter than B.J. B.J. was a salesman. Not to reduce that himself grew chiropractic, but it was dad was a visionary. His wife was a scientist. Mabel Palmer wrote maybe the best anatomy book in the history of anatomy books. It was published in 1920. It's been out of print since before World War II. And I found it on a PDF in Stanford University Library. So I brought it for you. You're going to be shocked at all the hand-drawn, colored slides. And it's almost 600 pages, right? It's a very, very, very good anatomy book. I also brought you 7 other books that have been out of print since 1920. From 1915 and 1916, the heads of departments of Palmer Chiropractic College were encouraged by Mabel Palmer to put their expertise on paper. There's a book on chiropractic symptomatology. There's a book on chiropractic physiology. These are all books that were compiled in 1915. And I was just looking at it with Marco. What's hard to believe as you're looking at these color drawings was people were riding down the street on horses when she made this book. So it's kind of incredible when you put that in perspective. Before there were cars, this woman made a great anatomy book. So you've all heard of the Palmer family. Did any of you hear of the Carver family? They're the dirty little secret. Palmer College in the beginning was up and down financial. It was a rich family named the Carvers that were also geniuses. And the Carver family wrote 2 books. And I brought those too. So you can have them on PDF. If you have someone to print them out, it's great to have them in print because these books have been out of print for nearly 100 years. Most books on physiology, the good ones, are medical physiology. Most books on symptomatology and visceral pathology are from a medical standpoint. These books were written scientific books from chiropractors. So don't just load them up on a stick and take them home. Read them. They will give you a better understanding of the body than the biological sciences that you learn from a medical standpoint. Even though you've learned chiropractic and you're all gung-ho and you're practicing, understanding the body better from a chiropractic standpoint will only make you a better practitioner. Constant and never-ending improvement. I would start with Mabel Palmer's anatomy book. Not reading every word, but just going through and looking at the charts. It's quite impressive. Can you lower that down? You see that? Yeah. Finding friends with the same mental disorder as you, priceless.
Getting better? No word. Getting better? Better.
Oh, and I forgot to go over this. This was a letter from BJ that said, I love you because I love the things that you love. During this time when he wrote this, BJ had a huge problem with his ego, and all the department heads of Palmer scattered and started chiropractic colleges all over the United States. 6 of them started chiropractic hospitals. A lot of people don't know, just as the onset of World War II, the biggest hospitals in the United States were chiropractic hospitals. One of them was started in Paris, and about 17, 18 years ago, I was in Paris walking around. I forget where it was. The biggest hospital in Paris was a chiropractic hospital for 27 years. It's still standing. Still standing. It's not open, but maybe some of you speak French, want to go try again? Some of you find it hard to deal with people you grew up with, friends in your community that don't understand what health is. None of you have reached that point of frustration yet? Where you have to start getting rid of people? Either lay on my table or shut up. At least that's my philosophy. True leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. Being a chiropractor in your community means being a source of information. Not just the person that treats the symptom or condition, but you're building trust with a human being, so when something strikes, fear, false evidence appearing real, where do people run to? People go where their blind glauben is, right? Now, people can say what they believe in, but when do you find out where the rubber meets the road? Is when something scares someone so bad, then you find out. Where is your belief? Where is your faith? When you get scared, are you trusting in the laws of man or in the laws of nature? Because if you haven't answered this and you don't live this yourself, how are you ever going to inspire other human beings to live the same way? We're at a very unique time in human history, I believe, my opinion, that we're living history. That I'm old enough now that some of you are my age or younger. When I was a kid and I went and played in the forest and I got thirsty, I drank from the earth, water. Any of you remember that? I see you nodding your head. Do you remember drinking water from the earth? Does anybody drink water from the earth? Outside of the Alps. When I go to the Alps, I drink the water off a glacier. But otherwise, I'm buying it in a bottle. Does anybody remember the same thing? Drinking water from the earth? Do you do it now? Why not?
Fear.
Fear. That's a good answer. 75% of the planet is water. 85% of our bodies, at least, are water. The whole world recognizes that water is not safe to drink unless it comes from a factory in a bottle. People understand that concept, but don't understand that the world is sick. and getting sicker by the day. Your bodies are taking in a minimum of 50,000 chemicals a day. And your focus is back pain? Really? Wow. The reality is, half of you in this room are going to be dead in 5 years. I'm not being negative. That is the reality that most people haven't faced. 5 of every 6 people you know right now, this minute, are dying of heart disease or cancer and don't have a symptom present. We are in the middle of the largest die-off in human history. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares. Too busy looking at Kim Kardashian's ass or whatever else is on TV. If you don't step up and decide that you're going to get yourself stronger than your environment is toxic, you cannot expect to lead your flock to the healthy land if you haven't taken yourself there first. This is the world in which we live in. This is the natural world. For thousands of years, when men went to battle, the leaders led from the front, not from an office 10,000 miles away. To understand the future is to understand the past. And I want to go ahead. I'm not being negative. I don't worry about this stuff. I'm one of the few happy people I know. I just understand the world I live in. That every day that you wake up, you need to be constant and vigilant first about yourself, your family, and the people around you. You have a lifeboat. How many are you going to save? First, start with you. What good are you to your patients when you're dead? Dead, not sick. We're not living in a world of sickness anymore. People are being killed off faster than ever in human history. That's not, I'm not talking about some conspiracy theory. This is the world in which we live right now. Children are dying from disease. People are dropping dead in their 20s and 30s from heart attacks. What is going on? The first question I ask a new patient when they come in my office, well, the first thing I say is I apologize to them that no doctor ever taught you what health is. And they look at me like I'm an asshole. And I say to them, tell me in 10 words or less, what is health? 90% of people tell me what? Feeling good. I say, based on your definition, we can go down the bar, have 3 vodkas, and we're all healthy, right? Problem solved. Is that health? The job of feeling better is a bartender. The job of functioning better is a chiropractor. Some of you don't realize that there are thousands of people in your community waiting for you to wake up. Just waiting. The moment you change your mind, people are going to come see you that are going to scare the hell out of you. Most of you probably see back pain and headaches. How many people walk in your office and say, the doctor told me I'm going to be dead in a month? Where do these people have to go? If not you, who? BJ used to say, if it is to be, it is up to me. That's the burden of responsibility that a chiropractor should take on their shoulders. That you are the only one in your community with a lifeboat. There's nobody else. Nobody else is offering them anything but some feel-good. Here, take this pill. Here, take this homeopathic medicine. There's a picture of a tree on the bottle. That's the greatest lie in your country, isn't it? Homeopathic. What does that mean? The drugs are made by Merck, but there's a nice picture of a flower on the bottle. Does it grow on a tree? Did it grow in your garden? What makes it homeopathic? The sales pitch. Because I like the fact I live in a country that you have to lie to people to get them to take pills. Drugs? Oh, no, no, no. I take this small homeopathic thing to get to sleep, one for my heart and one for my schilthrosa, but drugs, I hate them. Aha. If I give you an apple, can you fix it with a knife? People laugh. Oh, but you think you can do the same thing with the body. Interesting. I'm always changing. I told you I'm always changing I've been working on this presentation every day since Marco asked me to come. And I just added this the other day because I saw that I have this little plaque that says this on it. And I'll read it to you because maybe you can't see it. But I sometimes see, I put this in my open adjusting room, actually not for patients to read, to remind me sometimes when my head gets too far up my ass, to remind me what my job is. But I sometimes see patients over there reading it. And it says, why I am a doctor of chiropractic. Because I honor the inborn potential of everyone to be truly healthy. Truly healthy. Those are just words. Most people don't even know what that means. Because I desire to help the newborn, the aged, and those without hope. Without hope. A lot of people. Because I choose to care for the patient with the dis-ease, not the disease. That's a really big thing. Whether or not your focus is the focus and correction of what they feel or what's causing the dysfunction. Because I wish to assist rather than to intrude. Which, if you're honest with yourself, we're all recovering control freaks. The sooner you let go and realize you're in charge of nothing, the better you're going to serve your patients. I wish to free rather than control, because I seek to correct its cause, not its effect. Because I know doctors do not heal. I've had medical doctors in my office that yelled at me for this. I had to give them a lecture like they're 6-year-olds. Only the body can heal itself. Some people feel like they're healers. That's ego, edging God out. You're in charge, not the maker. I'm just a servant. I'm in charge of nothing. I'm in charge of what I put in my coffee. That's about it. Because I've been called to serve others. There's the core of it, right? Who are you serving? Yourself? Or are you serving your patients? Are you in charge? Or is your patient in charge? It starts in your head. Because I want to make a difference, and every day I get to witness miracles. Sometimes people ask me why I don't go on holiday. And I think, because I have a vacation lifestyle. Every day I get to see things most people only read in science fiction books. And it has nothing to do with me. I'm just a hand worker. I just clear out the pathways. The power that made the body heals the body. It doesn't happen any other way. And it doesn't matter what you believe or what your patients believe. Because sometimes I have people that fold their arms and go, I'm really skeptical. I said, me too. I'm from New York. I don't believe anything anybody says unless I can see it, touch it, taste it, or measure it. I don't believe anything people say. Nothing. Show me. Right? Some people work on the fact that their patients are going to come in and have Glauben. Oh, my Lord. I don't want patients like that. They're going to be gone in a week. I want patients who are going to argue and fight. Tell me I'm wrong. That begins a discussion. There's a give and take. Just this morning, some woman called me up, just started in my office, and she started to go down a list of symptoms, and I said, I'll just be in my office in a half an hour. And I went over, and she started to tell me all the reasons she was afraid of getting adjusted. And I said, lady, it's Saturday. You want to get on the table, or you want to talk about it? I said, me talking, the more I talk, the more I'm going to piss you off. I said, you could just shut the fuck up and get on the table. Or what else did you want me to come in here for? She was crying and told me she was difficult. I said, I know you think you're difficult, but I said, once I change your life, you're going to send me everybody in your neighborhood. You're going to be dragging people in here by the ear. People, this woman was damaged, not from me. Because I adjusted her with an arthro stim like I adjust 1-week-old babies. Because she was crying, I don't want you. Get on the table. The more I talk to people, the more it's going to interfere with stuff. It's best when I just turn the music up and they just get on the table. Because I get to witness miracles. I don't produce anything. I'm a hand worker. Because I know it's right. The power that made the body heals the body. If you're not functioning on that basis alone, like I said, to go back to the numbers, people will do anything for 20 visits. Which means, if people are leaving your office before 20 visits, you're less than nothing. You understand the math? Mm-hmm. Basic math. Germans are good at math. I'm not so good. But less than 20, nothing, here. You, below. How do you change that? Just change your mind. And I still didn't finish the 100%, did I? 50% your intention. 40% building a biomechanical model in your head of what you need to do to improve neurological functioning. And only 10% of that is the impulse. That's the technique, that's the payoff, that's the icing on the cake. For some people, it's the main focus. So it's really easy to change this. Like I said, you don't need to buy a new house, move to a new town, get a new spouse, or buy a new car. You just need to change your mind. That's the easiest thing in the world. It doesn't cost anything. You just say, I've decided. If you say, I'm going to try, trying is lying. Lie to your wife, your husband, your tax man. Don't lie to yourself. That's the biggest crime in the world we live in. People lie to themselves. This is what I was telling this woman this morning. She kept telling me, this is my problem. I said, why do you keep lying to yourself? Why don't you just shut up and get on the table? Let your body do its job. I said, you are interfering with your body's ability to do its job. And I understand some of you don't have the confrontational tolerance. Confrontational tolerance is your ability to stand and look another human being in the eye and tell them something, and they're going to think you're an asshole. You can't have an attachment to the outcome. If you want people to like you, be a bartender. A couple of drinks, people love you, they'll sing your praise, they'll come back tomorrow night and buy more drinks. Confrontational tolerance, the ability to tell people things they don't want to hear. Diabetics. You can't look a diabetic in the eye and say, you are eating yourself to death. You don't have a disease. You have too much shitus in this whole itis. And not enough is movus your asses. Completely correctable in 30 days. Diabetes, the disease of denial. Any of you struggle with that? Diabetes is my Everest. I fail about half of the time. Most diabetics are not willing to change their lifestyle. So I tell them, I'll give you a month. If you don't change your life, go find someone else to watch you kill yourself slowly, because I'm not doing it anymore. It's too hard. Chiropractic is not about how you feel, it is about how you heal. I just wanted to
No, you don't.
away from that. Oh, I did, didn't I? Sorry. Better I don't touch anything technical, I just screw it all up. Yeah, it was me.
What was the intention? What do you want? You mean that one?
Yeah.
Like this?
No, I just wanted this to be in the middle.
Okay.
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. So you have to move this, not this.
I'll stay away. I'll ask you next time.
You watch here, you move here.
So just so you know, you don't have to take pictures if you want these slides. I left this with him, and most all of these, I always tell people, most all of this stuff, I loaded the stuff up on Facebook every day. If you want these things to take and put on your own Facebook page or webbook, just type into Facebook, American Institute of Chiropractic. Nothing there is secure. You can have everything. I load it up there for my students and other chiropractors. I only take things I like from other people and share them with everybody else. So there may be a couple of slides that aren't up on there, but everybody on Facebook?
Yeah.
And I always say this too, if you want to communicate with me, emails are that idea. I get like hundreds a day, and I stay away a couple of days. I have like 3,000 outstanding emails now. It might take me a year to get to you. But I go on Facebook every day. So if you want to communicate with me, just go on the AIC page of Facebook or my practice page, because I load stuff up every day. And the message thing is easy to click on. The rest I'm kind of useless. But there's plenty of stuff that I load up. Some of it's in English, some of it's in German.
Yeah.
But there's really good pictures, videos, some weird stuff. Filter it yourself. 90% of the stimulation and nutrition to the brain is generated by the movement of the spine. Yes?
One more question to the last slide. Didn't you just say before that we are not supposed to heal? It's the body which is supposed to heal itself.
Chiropractic is not about how you feel, it's about how you heal. How can you heal properly when you have interference between the brain and the body?
Und that is a chiropractor, like how the sentient is taught the patient, he thinks that he was a healer.
Ah,
Just like this.
I see. I said you're not a healer. That doesn't mean you're healing. It means that chiropractic is not about helping people feel better. It's helping them heal better. But you're not healing them.
Okay.
The body is a self-healing organism. Chiropractic is a science, art, and philosophy whose sole purpose is finding and removing neurological interference. That's it. Most chiropractors in the world would argue with me and say, you know, that looked two old crazy guys in America 100 years ago. I have no idea what they're talking about. Most chiropractic education programs left in the world are not principally based. The great thing is you're kind of sheltered because the people you learn from, at least some of them learned from me, and they only learned chiropractic, and they only teach chiropractic. You guys aren't teaching any therapies or modalities, right? You're not doing any rubby-dubby over here, scratchy, scratchy? Nope. You know, most of the Germans that have learned from these groups here, they're always surprised when they go to seminars and they meet chiropractors from England or Spain or somewhere else. And you think, you know, all chiropractors think the same thing, and you're a little bit shocked when they're like, nervous system? I'm a diagnostician. I'm treating stuff. Well, good for you. I don't even bother arguing anymore. When I'm at a seminar, I'm like, here, talk to Carol. I don't give a shit how anybody practices, whatever. You become a chiropractor and you want to do physical therapy, go ahead. I don't care. I'm not in control. You know what I mean? You've been shocked? Huh? No. You're not shocked. You grew up in a world with a principal chiropractor in your house, and then you met idiots that call themselves chiropractors, don't know what it is. That wasn't shocking to you?
No, of course, this is shocking, yes.
This is my whole point.
Yeah, this is shocking, of course.
It's like...
But for me, it's hard to see the other side, because I came from the ritualistic side, so it's hard to see...
That's the point. I don't get it. If you're a French chef, don't you cook French food? If you're a chiropractor, why would you not do chiropractic? I don't understand either. I don't get it, so I don't waste my time anymore. I used to argue with people. Ah! That's their choice. Why would you become a chiropractor if you're not interested in chiropractic? I don't know, but it's the majority of the profession. I mean, it makes me really proud. Years ago when I came to Europe and I went to seminars, there were no Germans. None. I was there with a little German thing in my thing all by myself. Now when I go to seminars and I see people around the tables, they want to get adjusted from you people. I just smile. Because everybody in the world knows now that the best adjusters in the world are Germans. Yes. Make the best cars. Move the Atlas better than anybody. And it never seeks to shock me. A month ago, I was invited to speak to a group of Dutch chiropractors, not kinderarts. And on the break, they were sitting in a chair, I moved their atlases, and this woman got up and was like, wow, that was awesome, what'd you do? I said, I don't know, chiropractic? This woman been in clinical practice 10 years. I said, you really can't be that impressed, are you? What is it that you're doing in your office? I moved the atlas in place. No magic, no voodoo. I didn't pull a rabbit out of my hat. How can you be that impressed? I don't know. So I can't speak about people that don't get this. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not very smart. I haven't figured it out, and I just no longer give a crap. So, but understand when you start going to seminars and other places, you're going to meet people that think you're nuts. Just so you know, finding people with the same mental disorder as you, priceless. That's what that slide's all about. Because some of you don't know, which is beautiful. You just understand the good stuff. That's a good thing. Don't let the other people influence you. And whatever you do, don't enter discussions on Facebook and try to argue with these idiots. These people have nothing to do. They're not busy during the day changing lives. So they want to get on Facebook and start arguments. I have friends, I'm like, just stop. What do you think you're going to do? Change their mind? Come on. So, does everybody understand this concept? The center of all life is movement. I'm sure all of you hear the same thing I hear every day, right? You adjust a patient, you think you did a good job teaching them, and they look at you and go, can I go to the gym? And I'm like, oh, why did I waste my time telling you all this stuff? I always say to people, if you ever meet a doctor that tells you not to move, look at him with sympathy, start laughing, and realize that they're an idiot. Movement is the center of all life. Sitting on your butt when you have pain is only going to make stuff worse. Look, and we're all human beings. We all fall into that, right? We have ups and downs. Sometimes we're really motivated. Sometimes we just get lazy. How many of you this week exercised to exhaustion, ate good food, and received an adjustment? Anybody? Not many. Let me see the hands. Ah, some of you were lazy bastards. Constant and never-ending improvement. First starting with ourselves. Every day is a brand new day to make you better. What's that going to do for your patients? It's going to make them better. There's a French proverb that says, the first part of the healing is the presence of the doctor in the room. Do you understand what that means? People are coming in when they meet us, and we think, oh, they like the pretty flowers, or they like my adjusting tables. They don't give a shit. They are judging you. Do I want to listen to you? My standard is, I am trying to be the chiropractor that I would love to work on me. That's it. My only measurement is mine, not anybody else's. The best chiropractor I can be for you is first being the best chiropractor I can for myself. because I have high standards. I want the best care that I can have. That's what I give. What I want for myself, what I want for my family, what I want for my patients. It's no different. I don't adjust my family or friends any different than my patients, or I want to be adjusted. I want to be adjusted how I want to be adjusted. That should be your standard. Care shouldn't be different for anybody. It should all be the same, right? If it's not, if you're not offering your patients the same thing you want for your family, come on. You understand? Does everybody in here want to be adjusted for the rest of their life?
Yeah.
How often?
Every time.
All day, every minute? Just keep going, keep going, keep going. You hit my atlas, go to the sacrum, go to the knee. Oh, you missed my foot. My point is, no. Whatever your answer is for you, do you offer that to your patients? Are you afraid to tell your patients when they say to you, how often do I need to get adjusted? What's your answer? Because this has changed for me over time. I used to have this long, drawn-out explanation. You know what my answer is now? 0. 0. How often do I have to get adjusted? Never. Healthy food, exercise, and chiropractic is a choice. It's a choice. You don't have to be healthy. You can leave here and go eat McDonald's or Burger King. You get more nutrition out of eating your shoe. But if you only want to be adjusted when you feel pain, do you think your patients are going to be any different? Get frustrated?
They just come in when they have a headache.
When do you get adjusted? This is how I judge you. All of you that I don't know, I'm going to judge you when I touch your spine. Blah, 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 blah. When I lay you on the table and I feel the movement in your facet joints, that's all I need to know. Right?
Right.
If I lay you on the table and your spine feels like you haven't been adjusted in a few years, I'm going to give you the come to Jesus talk. How are you going to help anybody when you're dead? There's so few people doing what we do on the planet Earth. Just in Germany, there's about between 2 million and 5 million suffering people for every one of you. What if they all woke up tomorrow and realized they needed chiropractic? Most of them would be under inactive care in 3 months or less. Because most of you don't have systems in place to provide health for people for the rest of their lives. Cradle to grave. This is what people should want. Need? No. Food, shelter, water. Those are the only human needs. You don't have to do anything else. Everything else is negotiation. The only easy day was yesterday. When I was in the military, we had this slogan. The only easy day was yesterday. Because every day, training was hard. Hard. Hey, like I said, you don't have to take pictures. I'm leaving that with him. You can have these slides. Just focus. You can have the pictures. I want you to get the concept so you're not busy taking notes. It's all here. For some people, everything's hard. It's hard. Huh? It's hard. I'm old. I got 2 broken bones in my spine. I have no empathy for anybody that doesn't get up off their ass and go to the gym. I can't seem to go more than 3 or 4 months without breaking a bone or ripping something in my body. I think it's my penance, my test. I don't know. But it's easy to make an excuse, right? I'll do more tomorrow. No, you won't. You are all lazy bastards. We all are. You have to create healthy habits. You have to, if you want to help people in your community. Don't do it for you. I always say, I'm not interested in me at all. If I'm at home and I got to cook for myself, I'm useless. I don't want to wine and dine me. I'm not interested in impressing myself. So you have this, everybody gets to a certain point in their life where you are either serving other people or you just start to waste away. You understand? People get older, they don't have kids. What do? They die off. People without principle or purpose die at an early age. That is just the reality. Our souls, our very being, is put here to serve something bigger than ourselves. So, forget about you. Do it for everybody else. There are no more yesterdays. There's only tomorrow. I don't want to hear people telling me about, I got some big fatties come in and tell me they were fit 15 years ago. And I tell them, there was a whole lot of people alive 15 years ago that are dead today. You don't get any credit for yesterday. No credit. Only radiation is cumulative. Not exercise, not health. Every day your health is getting worse. What are you doing to fight? That's up to you. This was a sign on a gym that I really like. Crawling is acceptable. Falling, puking, crying, pain, blood. Quitting is not. If you haven't pushed yourself to the point of thinking you're going to puke or shit your pants, you are not pushing yourself. Because in the modern world, a lot of people are taught, if you feel pain, that's a bad thing. You're not going to live a very long time. No pain, no gain. That's in every aspect of your life. Learning, training, everything. The only easy day was yesterday. If you just develop a little bit of that mindset, you will find yourself uncomfortably becoming happy. Depression and misery is weakness. It's not a natural state of affair. It's easy to change it. You just have to do something to serve something other than yourself. And then you feel powerful. And you help more people. Forget about you. I just added this the other day because I thought this was great. When people tell me I'm lucky, I say, you know, it's funny, the harder I work, the luckier I get. People who believe in luck are chumps, suckers, idiots, people with no concept of what life is about. Good things come to those who wait. Bullshit. Good things come to those who work their asses off and never give up. Right? I think most of you have a concept of that. But it's nice to be reminded once in a while. Or you might be in a circle of people that thinks, good things come to those that wait. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket. That's hard for me when I'm in a grocery store because I see people buying lottery tickets and I'm not allowed to slap anybody in Germany. I want to slap people and go, what are you thinking? Did you work hard for that money? If somebody came and gave you €1,000,000, it would ruin your life. You know that 100% of lottery winners' lives are ruined within 5 years. Why? Because they're not ready for anything. They didn't earn it. I'm not making this up. Feel free. I think there's been some documentaries and movies made. Have any of you ever watched documentaries about former lottery winners? Talking about their families killing each other, blowing things up. I mean, you can't even imagine. You know, Henry Ford said at the end of his life, a young, arrogant journalist asked Henry Ford, what would you do if you lost all your money? And Henry Ford smiled and looked at the young man and said, young man, I would find a human need, I would fill it, and I'd have all my money back. And then he said, if you took all the money in the world and distributed it evenly throughout the population, in one generation, it'd all be back in the same hands. Most people are sheeple. They buy into this.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, good luck with that. How can we move forward if we don't understand our past? There is the first technique. But remember this. This was during a time before the chemical industry was born out of the ashes of World War II. That adjustment was curing liver disease. Well, not curing. You understand what I mean. People got adjusted once, and disease went away. Their bodies weren't encountering 50,000 chemicals a day. They could still drink water out of the earth. They weren't injecting toxic waste into animals. You could eat meat raw and not die. You understand? We live in a different world. This is almost like another planet. You know, what they achieved in one adjustment might take you 200 to 500 adjustments today. That is the reality in the world in which we live in. So don't read these old books and think, oh, if I just get the right technique, one adjustment, heart disease going away. No chance. That doesn't mean you're not doing something. We're fighting a larger uphill battle, right? How far does this go back? Well, let's see. That's 16,000 years before Christ. That's in the 20s. 16,000 years before Christ, 1920s. D.D. Palmer said, I'm not the first to work on the spine, but I am the first to use the spinous process as a short lever to specifically remove neurological interference between the brain and the body, and to unite man the spiritual with man the physical. I understand you're Europeans and you're a little uncomfortable talking about God. I'm not religious. I don't go to church. I'm not talking about a sect. Just understanding that something bigger than us made us. Right? People have understood that all throughout human history. You see that, right? It's kind of ironic that one of my favorite quotes is from Hippocrates, who medical doctors take an oath to. The guy 460 years before Christ was born said, look well to the spine for the cause and prevention of disease. Isn't that ironic that the people that are doling out drugs take an oath to him? You'd think he was on our team. He was. He performed manipulation. He didn't give anybody a pill, tell them to call him in the morning. I really like this sarcasm. I'll eat fast food, drink sodas, artificial sweeteners, take multiple prescriptions every day, but I'm really skeptical about you. I find this a lot with people that have had multiple surgeries. Sometimes I can't stop the sarcasm and laughter from flowing out of me. When someone's standing there like this, telling me how afraid they are of me, but they've had spinal surgery. You're not afraid of narcotics and a bone saw, but these are really dangerous. Does anybody find the irony in that? And most of the time when I ask patients, why did you have the surgery? I don't know. What was the purpose? I have no idea. Wait a minute. You let someone put your brain to sleep with narcotics, cut you open with a knife, but you ask no questions. But me, I'm going to lay on the table and touch you with my hands, and I might be dangerous? Really? I don't understand that, do you? I don't know, maybe I look like Superman. My hand's just going to go right through. Oh no, another dead one. Take him out. So, I want to inspire people. When I talk with people, I want them to say, because of you, I didn't give up. How many times have I tripped on that thing? Gonna put a big yellow
66.
flag for me.
Yeah. Preach.
This is my motivation when I teach other doctors, but also with patients. It's no different. I want to inspire you to help people better. Because somewhere, somehow, that's going to be down my tree of life a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm not keeping a scorecard, but I have this one poster in my office with BJ on it. It says, "You never know how far-reaching the things you may think, do, or say today may affect the lives of millions tomorrow." Every single human being you work on, you have no idea. You don't know how is their life going to change? Who knows? You all understand that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they were headed down this path, they're headed down this path. They're going to do this, that, the other, whatever. That's the awesomeness of being a servant to this power, isn't it? We don't know. But we know the potential is huge. That's what should make practice playtime. After you've studied and studied and studied some more and learned as much as you can, and you keep learning all the time, that you know at the end of the day when you drive home, you gave all of yourself. You did everything you could. That's all you can do. That took me some years to learn. All you can do is all you're capable of. You know, some of you have limitations in your mind. I know because I've taught German people. And the toughest thing that I have is getting you past your own insecurities. Oh, I'm not worthy. I don't know every technique on the planet. It doesn't matter. Turn on the power and let the master of the universe do its job. You're not in control. Be a humble servant. You're just a servant. I remember I said this to this chiropractor in Spain. I said, I'm a servant, I'm nothing. And she goes, oh, you poor guy. I said, you're the crazy bitch. I'm happy. I said, you're the one that doesn't know what the hell it is you're doing. I said, being a servant is perfect. I'm nothing, nothing. You can't go any lower than nothing. How can anybody put you down further than the floor? I'm nothing. Say what you want. I'm a servant. But when you're a servant, you're connected in a biofeedback loop to the power that controls everything. Or would you rather be in charge? Not me. If I had to think about my bodily processes for 1 second, in 1/10,000th of a second, I would be dead. I am completely useless as far as human life goes. The only thing I can do is be a servant. 700 trillion processes taking place every second. And you're in charge? Good luck with that. Servant. There you can let go of all your insecurities. You think you're little? Go to nothing. You can't get any lower than nothing, can you? Nothing. Servant. Serve the maker. The power that made the body heals the body. It's going to do its job. You just need to be a good hand worker, remove the interference, and let the maker take over the system. Then you can go home every day with a clear mind and just know in the morning you're not going to work. You're going to have fun. You want to set up your office for playtime. How many of you work? You work? Oh, poor girl. You need a hug? I say work your ass off to get to a point you can play. Sometimes people look at me like, what's wrong with you? I just want to have fun. Huh? See, you just discovered that one day in my office, didn't you?
Say yes.
You say what? You a little nervous? You know, kids get to a point where they have to go into workplaces. And sometimes people put them to work. But my younger son, he just, what did you say to me?
Both of them.
What did you say to me after the first
date.
Huh? You said, this is what you do? You get to do this all day and have fun? And you brought home money? Yes. Because you know, school is just prison, right? We all have to go through it.
Can I go pee, please?
That's prison. Everybody got to do their time. Paroled for time served. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but do not tell you what to see. Every single decision that you make with patients, you got to stand firm on that, right? Because everybody that's in clinical practice faces things at some point, tightens up your sphincter. Some of you may not have seen it yet, but I remember just beginning in practice, having a woman come to me with a degenerative, inoperable brain tumor. You remember that woman? That's still, you know, I just remember thinking as I'm taking her history, they didn't teach me the brain tumor technique. When this happens, you have to go through your head and remind yourself what your job is. Now when people come in with things like that, I laugh at them. And they're looking at me with horror. Because everything is like, oh. A couple of years ago I was at a seminar, and this chiropractor had cancer. And all these people gathered around her, hugging her and crying her, crying. And I went over and I squeezed her ass. And I said, nobody is going to want to hit that if you don't grow some more hair. And everybody looked at me like, how could you say that? And I said, she's not dead yet. What's wrong with you? Aren't you chiropractors? Do you really want to embrace the, oh, it's so bad, you're dead. She's still breathing. Right? Do you give your patients sympathy when they come in?
My doctor told me I had cancer.
So what? He's a dickhead. He's a loser. He's probably got cancer too. Why don't you get rid of it? See, some of you, it still tightens up your butt when you hear Krebs, right? Cancer is easy to get rid of. It's not a disease. It's a state of functioning of the human body. All you got to do is change your mind and have it gone tonight. Or you can go get chemotherapy. You'll be dead in less than a month. 1 out of 2 men, 1 out of 3 women. Those are the numbers. That's larger than the pest. You just don't see the dead bodies floating down the water because we have a quicker way of disposing of the corpses now. But the pest was amateur hour compared to what we live in now. You want to take care of headaches? Back pain? Make plenty of money. There is an almost sensual longing for communion with others who have a larger vision. The immense fulfillment of the friendships between those engaged in furthering the evolution of consciousness has a quality that's almost impossible to describe. This is why we like going to seminars, right? Like, finally, I'm going to be around a group of people I don't have to explain ABCs to. The worst part of chiropractic is you got to explain the same thing 1 billion times. right? The same thing. Over and over and over. It's like laundry. As soon as you're done, there's more. And dishes. No matter how good you are at washing dishes, there's always more as soon as you're done. That's the only thing I hate is talking to people. Because you got to say the same thing, right? And you say the same things and they go, yeah, what? Yeah. I understand all that, but my pain is special. It's mine. And I love it. And it loves me. I want to keep it. It's my friend. Go ahead. But the body has no need to warn you that something's going wrong when it's being corrected, right? You all understand that? Some of you might have pain right now. When I get done, I'll adjust everybody. And if your pain doesn't go away, it's because you don't want it. Some of you look at me like I'm nuts, or my eyes are really bad and I can't see anything. Maybe a little both. See, the problem is, we have some pain, and that feeling becomes a thought. And then the thought becomes a feeling becomes a thought, and then what happens? You've surrendered the power of your mind to your body. Now your ass is in charge. And that is a sneaky way to live your life. Some of you right now are living with your ass being in charge of your head. Every morning you wake up and you have a choice to decide what's in charge. You can go, please, tell me what to feel today. I'm not sure. Do I need to limp with my left knee? Does my toe hurt? Or you decide you're going to feel good today. Because it's a choice. You can get up and go, I am a miserable bastard. I'm unhappy. Life sucks, and it's Monday. That's how I judge people. I judge all of you. I judge everybody based on the Monday-Friday paradigm. If you love Fridays and hate Mondays, you are a miserable slave. If you love Mondays and hate Fridays, you're a chiropractor. Because what do you think? On the weekend, I've only got a few people to adjust. That sucks. Right, Jan? What Jan really likes to do on his days off is adjust people. Because what could be more fun than turning on the power of life? It's like having a toy that you can play with all the time. At any given moment, I can set your brain free. That's amazing. All of you. At any moment, I can take you up in an airplane, put a parachute on you, and kick you out. And then take the surgeon down the street and kick him out. Buck naked. And the moment you hit the ground, your practice is up and running. Naked. Naked chiropractic adjusting. Because all it takes is your hands. Your office is your playground. Whatever table or instrument you buy, that's like deciding what kind of car you want to play with when you're a kid. None of it is necessary. I think I got 22 tables in my office. I don't need any of them. I can adjust all of you on the floor, on the table, on the hood of my car. But some of you I don't want to sit in the hood of my car. Whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man, and this doesn't mean man or woman, just mankind, should do his job so well that the living, dead, and unborn could do it no better. Who is the greatest chiropractor in the world? Let me see your hand. That's it? Come on, get your hands up. Do you? They've been brainwashed. When I used to push them at the park. Every day. Who's the greatest chiropractor in the world? I am, Papa. They have no chance to be anything else. All of you, because what is the greatest chiropractor in the world to you? Exactly what you want, right? What is the greatest meal on the planet? It's exactly what you want to eat. Who knows that better than you? All of you should be striving to be the greatest chiropractor on the planet, and you should all have that. Because would you want to pay somebody who's not? Do you want to go someone who's just okay? Huh? Do any of you want someone adjusting you that doesn't feel good about themselves? I don't even want you touching me unless you know you were the master. Do not offer to touch my body if you're thinking, oh, I'm not good enough. That's right, you're not. Do you understand it's a choice? It's a choice. You decide. Every single day you make a choice. What's the difference? Hates Mondays, loves every day. Which one are you? He can change his mind. Every day he can change his mind. Life's journey is not to arrive at the grave safely in a well-preserved body, but rather to skid sideways, totally worn out, shouting, "Holy shit, what a ride." Some people are afraid of everything. I know I used to be. When I was a kid, I was afraid of under the bed, in the closet, the boogeyman. I was afraid of everything. But I just made a choice that I wouldn't be afraid of anything anymore. If you live your life going full speed, you're going to hit the wall a few times. That's all right. I've broken nearly every bone in my body. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I'm still moving. I have all the excuses in the world to sit on my ass. So do you. Right? It hurts. I'm just going to go sit on the sofa. You do that after you do what you need to do. Whatever it is you're afraid of doing it, do it. This thing I keep tripping over represents the comfort zone. Life begins out here. Anything that you're afraid of doing, just do it. You'll feel better after you do it. During it, you might need to wear something tight so you don't poop yourself. Just clench really tight. Ah, wasn't that bad? Fear is not a human emotion. It's taught to you by people that have fear. Do you ever watch children in their natural element before we learn how to bullshit and lie to ourselves? Kids don't have any fear. Not a fear of gravity. Not a fear of electricity. Kids don't have any fear. Do you remember watching your kids pull the lamp right towards their face with a smile on their face? What's going to happen when this thing hits my head? Or you watch them crawl over the edge of the bed, slowly diving their face towards the ground. The whole way down, they got a smile on their face. The only person really traumatized is you. Because kids, they scream for about 30 seconds, and they're kind of waiting to see if you're going to scream and cry. Because kids don't produce any emotions for the first 6 years. They just learn from you. The Toltec Indians, their philosophy says, lying begins the minute you begin to talk. That words are bullshit. And the more you think about that, the older you get, the more wisdom you think there is in that. What if we couldn't speak to each other? Communication between human beings, verbal communication is only 10% of what's possible. Have all of you had an experience with that? I encourage you to do what I did some years ago. I took a table and I traveled to 10 countries where I couldn't speak a word. I left my credit card at home and I had $20 in my pocket. And some of you know me know I like to eat good and stay good. So I forced myself to see if I could earn a living with my hands without being able to speak to people. I stayed in fine hotels, ate fine food, but I forced myself to have no security blanket, no credit card, no access to any money, just 20 bucks. Then you find out, some of you have heard chiropractors talking about going on mission trips, and it really helps. But I think even the mission trip, you have a little crutch, right? There's like a group of senior chiropractors that line everybody up. You just got to come in and adjust 1,000 people in 6 hours. But having to produce, to feed yourself and provide shelter, to me is a bigger challenge. Because I think about the 3 human necessities: food, shelter, security. And water falls under the food. Food, shelter, security. Could you go into a combat zone and get someone to pay you to adjust them? Most of you, I don't encourage you to try. But at least a poor country. The most amazing thing is that with my experience, I've found the poorer and more degenerate people are, the more they appreciate what you do. The most unappreciative patients I have are the richest people. I'm not saying across the board, but in general, I think all of you had enough life experience. And some of you that are on Facebook, I loaded up at least 3 or 4 of these videos in the last month where this group of young university students went into cities with a camera, and they send one guy into a restaurant, and he's walking around and asking people, am I going over my time?
5 minutes.
Okay. The young guy walking up to people going, I'm hungry, can I get some food? People are like, fuck off. So the same guy goes in the restaurant, buys food, brings it out to a homeless guy. 2 minutes later, his friend comes by and says, I'm hungry, can I have some food? And every time, what do you think happens? Have you seen these videos? It's always the same. The homeless guy goes, yeah, you're hungry? Sit down, let's eat. The guy with nothing. You were designed, this is actually a sign that's in some chiropractor's office in Florida. You were designed to be extraordinary. We help you be your best by restoring the communication pathways between your brain and your body. It's called chiropractic. Want some? Alisa, you don't have to take pictures. You can get the slide from Marco. It's also on all of my Facebook pages. You can load it up. You can have it in good quality. But you guys keep continuing to take pictures. Okay, I really wanted to get to this, because this is always what I pound in my students' heads about dreaming. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Some of you look confused. Well, I don't know what you mean. Try it tonight. Try going bigger. So big you wake up sweating. What if your dream world became the real world? I grew up in Baldwinsville, New York. That doesn't mean anything to anybody. Doesn't mean too much to anybody in New York either. Oops. This is the biggest thing that you need to start doing in your lives. Everybody, dreaming bigger. All of you, when you were kids, did you dream? Did you dream being a rock star, fireman? Something with hero status. right? Did some of you dream of being a superhero? Huh? See, I'm having friends with the same mental disorders you. He's just one more idiot following the laws of nature like me. One more mentally disordered person. You can all join the club. It's free. The only thing you have to do to pay the dues is to keep dreaming. You know, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but if you start studying a little bit of string theory and physics, the people who study the actual functioning of life have basically proven that we exist in 11 dimensions. That thing you dreamt about being when you were a kid, you were actually that in another dimension. It's not me, it's not my work, but I know that when I was a kid, around the corner from me was a family that were all firemen. I always wanted to be a fireman. And I realize now it's an innate need to want to save people. So I get to do that every day. I mean, firemen only get to save people when the alarm rings. You know what I mean? Because I admire they get to save people, but really, in today's world, in 2014, how many houses are really on fire? Not enough for me. If houses were burning everywhere every day, I'd love to be a fireman. I'd be in there kicking the door down. Get out of my way! Give me the dog! I'm the kid. The problem is, most firemen are sitting around the firehouse getting fat. The alarm rings, they get there, damn it, the sprinklers turned out the fire again. Damn it! Didn't get to use the hose or the axe. But that's a good metaphor I use with my patients as firemen. I use firemen for every metaphor because I always love firemen. But I say to people that have a lot of symptoms, and I talk about chiropractic, and they're like, yeah, but my symptoms are special. And I tell them, when the fireman comes to your house, he can chop the door down with the axe and put the fire out with a hose with water, right? And save your life. Do you hire him to come back the next week and rebuild your house? Do you? No. Hell no. They just want to break the door down. You wouldn't want someone like that rebuilding your house, would you? But you want a surgeon to talk to you about health? Really? You understand the metaphor? And patients get it really quick too. Oh yeah. Firemen can save your lives. Medicine saves people's lives every day. But I certainly wouldn't want to talk to them about my health because they really don't know. And I'm not saying this without experience. I've been teaching surgeons for years. They know less than you think they know. Their job is not health. Their job is to save people's lives. My life has been saved on more than one occasion from medicine. I'm not anti-medicine at all. Some people mistake that. Medicine has saved my life. But I wouldn't talk to them about health. There's a clear difference. Our job is to increase the quality of life that people have. The medical doctor down the street's job is to save people's lives. Crisis care and disease management, that's a job of medicine. Quality of life, that's a job of a chiropractor. If you are not living the life you always dreamed of, you might want to start getting adjusted and moving your ass and eating better stuff and dreaming bigger. So, I think I got to stop and maybe ask if anybody has any questions, because I have like 105 slides here. I could go until Thursday with maybe a coffee break or two. So, does anybody have any questions? Nobody has any questions? You know all that stuff already? I didn't need to say any of it? It's okay, I'm American. You can ask me anything. Really? Do you know the average German has 18 questions when they shop for a car? 18. Not one question in here? Really?
Be happy. The message got over them, so.
Yeah, was quite clear when you said.
You don't want to argue?
No.
Really? Come on, I wanted a little bit of a fight. Tell me I'm wrong. Are you all have the same mental disturbance as me? That's not fair. Are you going to give him a break? Let me just do a few more really quick. We won't talk about them. Clear your mind of can't. Replace I can't with hell yes. Hell yes. But I can't. Hell yes. Discipline is simply remembering what the hell it is you want. Some people go, I'm not disciplined. Really? You can't remember what you want? That's all discipline is. The only person to decide who you are is you. If you don't like you, become someone else. You were the writer, producer, director, and star of your own movie. If it's a horror show, rewrite the script. Make it a romantic comedy, an action flick. Whatever it is you want, it's up to you. 40%. 40%. That's your anterior cortex. You can change your reality right this second. Become exactly who you want to be. Stop making excuses. Your body can handle anything. It's your mind that needs convincing. You can make your body do anything. Anything. I know. Less talking, more doing. You want to turn it off, or I'm just going to keep going?